All right, so this fourth principle that I want to introduce is the idea of weight redistribution. So let me give you this analogy. An average size woman that's wearing high heels, average size woman weighs 120, 130 pounds, whatever an average size woman is, there are more pounds per square inch, there's more pressure exerted at the point where her heel hits the ground than there is for an elephant that weighs hundreds, if not thousands of pounds at the point where their foot hits the ground, okay? This idea of weight redistribution, when it comes to succession planning specifically, one of the things that organizations, nonprofit organizations, parachurch ministries, local churches, what we'll do is we will put all of the pressure at the point of transition, right? We so tightly associate succession planning with search, we put all of the weight at this point of handoff, and let me just tell you, the process is not designed to bear that type of weight. Okay? It's one of the reasons why I jokingly say that I'm on a mission to destroy the relay race metaphor. And that's not true. I mean, the relay race metaphor has a place in this conversation, but what happens is when we let the relay race metaphor drive the way that we think, what we do is we put all of our conversation, all of our thinking at the point of handoff, and it's like that woman's heel where all of the pressure, all of the weight goes here. And no wonder so many ministries and organizations struggle through seasons of transition because they're putting so much weight at this point of transition, and they're not, like the elephant foot pad, we're not redistributing the weight of this transition over time. We put all of it right here. And I think it's one of the reasons, I think it's actually probably the biggest reason why organizations, specifically ministries, local churches, struggle through seasons of pastoral transition. But it's not just for pastoral or personnel transition. This is also the case when you have someone trying to implement a new program initiative, or they're trying to launch something new. We again go back to the change versus transition. We spend all of our time or a lot of our energy trying to define the new thing that we want to implement, but we don't spend that same amount of time and that same amount of energy actually architecting the journey of becoming that thing that we want to, that we just decided we wanted to become. And so we don't know how. We don't have systems or processes or tools to guide our thinking and our planning of implementation of transition. So we don't know how to distribute the weight across this journey, and we allow it to land all of it at one singular point. So this idea of weight redistribution, how we at Sherpa help ministries and organizations with weight redistribution is we've defined 6 succession planning conversations, and we've provided tools and resources around that so we can redistribute the weight of this point of the total conversation over time through these distinct conversations, asking questions, providing tools, providing training, so that when we get to the point of handoff, when that baton metaphor actually comes into play, we have an appropriate amount of weight exerted at that point in time, and not all of the weight of this conversation happening at a time. All right? So there you are, the 4 principles, the kind of driving underlying ideas, this distinction of change versus transition. It's a critical distinction for us. The idea of stewardship, that allowing the season that we're in to determine the way that we behave, and we're not being stewards if we're not behaving, if we're trying to manage today's season through yesterday's activities or tools. We're not being a steward at that point, and that makes transition more difficult. The idea of just managing pushback. How do you communicate and engage in a meaningful conversation with people as a group of people, as an organization, as a team? You're collectively moving with transition. How do you navigate and have conversations with one another? And then finally, this idea of weight redistribution. What can we do to take all of the weight off of this point in time and redistribute that weight over a season so we can manage it, manage that pressure, manage that weight appropriately. So there are the four kind of core underlying drivers that inform everything that we do. If you'd like some information about how we can help you in some of these tactical areas, either organizationally, architecting your transition, or even at a personal level, if you're trying to discern some change in your life or discern some transition that you're going through, let us know. I'd love to reach out to you and just have a conversation.